NBC. This is the Channel 4 News at 5.
We begin tonight with concern over food safety. Public officials asking some very serious questions. All of it having to do with the Channel 4 News undercover investigation. Dangerous conditions exposed where thousands of LA stores and restaurants get their fruits and vegetables. Good evening, everybody. It's now 5 o'clock, and I'm Paul Moyer.
And I'm Colleen Williams. And clean it up or shut it down. That was the marching order today from LA County supervisors to the health department regarding the 7th Street produce market. It's all in direct response to Joel Grover's investigation last week, exposing filthy conditions at that huge wholesale market. Joel is here right now with the latest fallout from his report. Joel?
Well, Colleen, in a stormy session today, LA County supervisors accused the health department of failing to protect the public. The supervisors demanded action and answers from top health officials about why they allowed dirty conditions at one of the city's biggest sources for produce.
This is very embarrassing, I think, for you and for all of us.
County supervisors are talking about our undercover investigation, which they watched today during their weekly meeting.
It's absolutely obnoxious to see that going on.
Supervisors wanted to know why health inspectors have allowed dirty conditions at the 7th Street market, like those caught by our hidden cameras. Rats crawling around boxes of produce, workers urinating around the produce, water tainted with E. coli splashing onto fruits and vegetables. The head of public health, Dr. Jonathan Fielding, made no excuses.
But there was no question there was lax enforcement.
But Dr. Fielding, you've got to take control of this.
Why are we not exercising our police powers in public health to shut down a facility that is clearly in violation?
Health officials told supervisors since our NBC4 investigation began, they've issued dozens of citations to vendors at the market. They've ordered the owner to get rid of the rat problem, and they've forced the owner to put soap in the workers' bathroom.
Since this has come to our attention, we have been proactive. We have taken ownership, and now we have inspectors there. Inspectors are there every day.
Supervisors said a short-term fix won't do. They want health officials to come up with a plan to clean up the market for good. And they warned the media will be watching.
So you're not off the hook. I don't think that Mr. Grover is finished with his report. So what will be very embarrassing for us, Dr. Fielding, is to get caught again.
And she's right. We will be watching to see what the county does to clean up years of health code violations at the 7th Street Market, a place that supplies food to so many popular restaurants in town. Health officials must report back to the board in 2 weeks about the progress they've made, and we will be there. Paul and Colleen, back to you.
Joel, we thank you. To the scene of breaking news, we're going to take you right now. There have been a series of explosions. You're looking at it now at an oil field near Bakersfield, actually in the community of Taft, which is about 35 miles southwest of Bakersfield. Emergency workers tell us so far at least 4 people have been hurt in this, one of them apparently critically. At least 2 people are trapped inside of a burning building, we are told. Again, this is near Bakersfield in the community of Taft. We will bring you further details, of course, when they become available. In the meantime, in Playa del Rey tonight, police are looking for a young suspect accused of stabbing 2 other teenagers last night, leaving one of them in critical condition. It all unfolded after a basketball game between 2 high schools that are known for an extremely intense sports rivalry there. Channel 4's Doug Kriegel is live in Playa del Rey right now with the latest on this. Doug.
Well, Paul, we have been told that police now have a suspect in custody being questioned about these 2 stabbings. But people here tell us that the rivalry between these 2 high schools may have contributed a flashpoint to this violence. At St. Bernard's High School in Playa del Rey today, there was maximum security. LAPD cars circling the campus. Many students who had attended last night's basketball game between St. Bernard's and their major rival, Sarah High School of Bellflower, say trouble started during the game.
There was a fight before, like during the game, but I knew that something was going down because they made both sides come off at different times. So it was like, it was gonna be a fight.
30 minutes after the game, police were called to the scene. 2 teenagers had been stabbed, one in the head. Police say a melee erupted when people in the departing crowd began vandalizing a car. Then about 10 people began attacking one person. Motive unclear.
You had kind of a mob mentality, apparently, starting out vandalizing property and then turning its focus in violence against an individual. and several of those people who were part of that violent group attacking that individual were members of a gang.
The unidentified students who were stabbed were rushed to the hospital, one in critical condition. Police now have a person of interest in custody, a potential suspect. They say he is not a student at either of the two high schools.
He is a potential suspect. He's certainly a person of interest, and he has something to say that he wanted to come forward and tell the detectives.
This afternoon at St. Bernard's, an exclusive Catholic school for 600 students, many of the parents who came to pick up their teenagers say that sports sometimes gets out of hand.
Sports activities attract all sorts of people. One bad apple will make a bad case for everybody trying to enjoy a game.
Even students here say the rivalry between St. Bernard's and Sarah tends to be excessive. We've been told that the 17-year-old who was stabbed in the head is no longer in critical condition. Live in Playa del Rey, Doug Kriegel, Channel 4 News.
Meantime, the ninth and final defendant in last year's racially charged Long Beach Halloween beatings was sentenced today. That defendant, a female who was 17 at the time of the attack, was sentenced to probation and 250 hours of community service. Unlike the other 8 defendants, she will not be placed under house arrest.
Colleen, now to the story of the astronaut making big headlines tonight. The astronaut from NASA arrested. She's accused of trying to kidnap another woman whom she considered to be her rival for another astronaut's affections. And tonight she is charged with attempted murder, among other things. Reporter Kristen Dahlgren live in Orlando, Florida, with the latest on this. Kristen.
Yeah, hey there, Paul. You know, it was just last July when Lisa Nowak was flying on a space shuttle flight. Today she was in court facing some serious and very strange accusations.
Astronaut Lisa Nowak entered court for a second time Tuesday, facing charges of both attempted kidnapping and the attempted first-degree murder of a rival in a relationship with another astronaut. Judge Mike Murphy found probable cause to bind the case over, but listened to defense arguments for bail.
This is a member of the armed forces on active duty assigned in Texas. So we're not going to have a problem with her being back here.
The judge granted bail, but will require Nowak to wear a GPS tracking device and to stay away from her alleged victim. Police say the married mother of 3 drove from Houston to Orlando wearing diapers so she wouldn't have to stop. In the Orlando airport, she donned a disguise and waited for a female NASA engineer who she saw as her rival for the affections of shuttle pilot Bill O'Faline. Police say she followed the woman to a parking garage, then attacked her with pepper spray.
It was we believe, a fairly elaborate plan.
Commander Steve Lindsay.
Some of Nowak's NASA colleagues, including the commander of Nowak's shuttle mission this past July, were there to support her in court.
This is it's a personal matter, it's a legal matter that she and her family have to deal with. And our primary concern is, again, her health and well-being and safety.
Nowak's mental health is the subject of much speculation now, as many ask how a NASA star who blasted into space just a few months ago could have landed at the center of such a bizarre case.
And in a statement tonight, NASA said it had placed Nowak on a 30-day leave and also taken her off flight status. Nowak's family also released a statement. They said they were shocked by the allegations against her. That's the latest. Live in Orlando, I'm Kristen Dahlgren. Back to you, Paul and Colleen.
All right, Kristen. Police are searching for suspects in a drive-by shooting in Montebello that left a 12-year-old boy wounded. Investigators say the intended target was actually the boy's older brother. Channel 4's Angie Crouch has details.
Broken glass and bullet holes serve as tragic reminders today of a drive-by shooting that left a 12-year-old boy hospitalized. Montebello police say the child, whose name hasn't been released, was taking out the trash in front of his home in the 500 block of West Walnut Avenue around 10:30 last night when the shots rang out.
We were inside and we had just gotten home from a dinner and we were putting our stuff away, just settling down inside the house. And we heard about 7-8 gunshots. They were really loud, so I knew they were really close by.
Police say the boy was rushed to Beverly Hospital by family members. He underwent surgery for a bullet wound to his stomach and is now in stable condition. Today, relatives didn't want to talk on camera, but police say the gunmen were likely gang members looking for the boy's older brother who had just gotten out of jail.
This young man, along with his adult brother, were standing outside to the front of their residence when a drive-by shooting took place. The intended victim was the adult brother.
Police had just been called to the home Sunday by a neighbor who reported an altercation during a Super Bowl party.
We received a call of some type of an altercation involving several subjects, yelling at each other across the street. By the time we got there, they were all gone, and we believe that this may be involved.
This shooting could be linked to that argument on Sunday?
That's correct.
Angie Crouch, Channel 4 News.
She left for Iraq to fulfill a dream. Today, Army Reservist Carla Stewart returned home for the final time. A flag-draped casket carrying Stewart's body arrived by private jet at LAX this morning. 37-year-old specialist was born in La Cañada, Flint Ridge, and lived in Glendale. Her family says she first felt the call to serve her country when she was only 17, but didn't enlist until 2 years ago. Stewart was killed when her convoy vehicle overturned in southern Iraq. Her funeral is scheduled for Saturday.
Meantime, on Capitol Hill, House Democrats today grilled Paul Bremer, the former U.S. occupation chief in Iraq. Lawmakers said he gave out billions of Iraqi dollars without accounting for that money. Bremer ran the occupation for 14 months. The hearing by a House committee today scrutinized the chaotic days that followed the fall of Baghdad.
Did some of this money get in the hands of the insurgents and those who are fighting us today in Iraq?
We were in the middle of a war, working in very difficult conditions, and we had to move quickly to get this Iraqi money working for the Iraqi people.
Also today, Defense Secretary Robert Gates said U.S. forces might be able to start leaving Iraq before the end of this year. That's if, he said, certain conditions, including subdued violence and political reconciliation, are met.
It's been nearly 4 years now since a U.S. friendly fire incident killed a British soldier in Iraq. Now, a dramatic cockpit video has revealed the reaction of the American pilots when they realized first they had fired on a British convoy.
Aboard your mission, you've got, looks like we may have a blue-on-blue situation.
I'm gonna be sick. We're in jail, dude.
The British newspaper The Sun obtained this leaked video. The Americans thought they were attacking a convoy of Iraqi troops. Neither pilot from Idaho-based fighter squadron was disciplined because of this by the U.S. military. And despite requests from the British, the Pentagon had refused to release the video. But since it has been broadcast, U.S. authorities have agreed to release it for a British investigation.
Tonight, a truce has been declared between the city of Santa Clarita and a mining company after a nasty 7-year fight over the Soledad mine project. Officials from both sides today vowed to spend this year working toward a settlement that could include federal legislation. Cemex is the American subsidiary of a Mexican mining interest. The company wants to harvest 69 million tons of sand and gravel from a canyon in Santa Clarita. Officials say the project, which was to begin next year, would create too much congestion.
We've learned that Frankie Lane, the big-voiced singer whose string of hits made him one of the most popular entertainers back in the 1950s into the 60s, has died today. Frankie Lane died of heart failure at Mercy Hospital in San Diego. With songs like That's My Desire and Mule Train, Lane was a regular feature of the top 10 in the years just before rock and roll. Younger listeners might remember him best for singing the theme song to the television program Rawhide and the theme for the 1974 movie Blazing Saddles. Frankie Lane dead tonight at the age of 93.
Coming up right here, ballot boxes replaced by mailboxes. Next, we have this.
Californians vote exclusively by mail. Supporters say it's worked in other states, but critics say it could disenfranchise voters. I'm Ted Chen. That story coming up.
Well, these clouds look like they're ready to deliver something, but will they? We'll talk about it in my live Weather Plus forecast just ahead.
Tonight, the election people in the state of California are making their case for voting by mail. The plan has been a big success up north in the state of Oregon, but not everybody here in California is ready to trade the ballot box for the mailbox. Channel 4's Ted Chen takes it from there.
In Oregon, the polling place has been extinct for nearly 10 years. All voting is done by mail, turnout is high, and voters seem happy.
Hi, this is Serena, and I'm a volunteer with Democratic Governor Ted Kulongoski's campaign. How are you today?
But could the same thing work here? A top elections official is proposing California consider an all-mail system. Theoretically, it'd be cheaper and help ease the potential move to an earlier presidential primary in 2008. But Antonio Gonzalez of the Southwest Voter Registration Project worries that the votes of poor and minority voters would, in effect, get lost in the mail.
remember, we have constituencies, particularly immigrant-based constituencies and senior constituencies that don't even use the mail today.
And local officials say LA County isn't yet ready for an all-mail system. Absentee ballots are growing in popularity, but still represent less than 15% of turnout in Los Angeles County.
A lot of it depends on voters' confidence. A lot of it depends geographically. Again, in an urban area like this, I think that voters are always going to want that option of going into to a location and voting in person.
Parts of Northern California did go to all-mail voting 2 years ago, and that was called a resounding success. But don't expect it in Southern California anytime soon. The proposal has not been well received in Sacramento. Ted Chen, Channel 4 News.
All right, time now for a look at weather. Fritz is here. Cooled off just a little bit today, but there's more to come.
Yes, ma'am. Cooler tomorrow, and there is a rain chance, but it's another one in a long string of minor rain chances. Looks like it's going to do some. Look at the fog setting up. Long Beach here. We'll show you the look, just off the lights off, and then just peeking above the low cloud deck, which is fog. Let's show you the Venice Beach camera. Same deal. The jetty almost completely hidden there. That's the sign that the flow is changing. With the dry from offshore flow, now we get the ocean to come ashore and take over. Cool us down. It delivered the upper mid-level clouds today and may bring us a little shot at rain. Let's look at some of the highs today and compare them to some of the blasting highs we've had the last couple of days. 80 downtown, still warm, but look at Malibu. You can really see the onshore flow returning. 59, 77 here in Burbank, 77 Lancaster, 63 at Newport. Sea breeze is working its magic. Here's what's going on. There's a huge amount of moisture out there to come in here and help us out with a connected front. All this is upper and mid-level clouds, but once again, we find ourselves in the dilemma of not being close enough to the center of a storm to warrant the forecast of a lot of measurable rain, which we desperately need. Here's Futurecast that takes us 2 days out in the future from 5:30. Watch this. A huge swath of moisture, central and northern California, as close as it gets, is 7:30 tomorrow morning, and then look what happens. Once again, just like it's done so many times this winter, all that moisture slides northward over Point Conception, and it's a near miss. However, in the mountains of Santa Barbara, Ventura County, we have a little something. So what we're going to do, for lack of a better term, call it a 30% chance of rain tomorrow, and then tapering off as the week goes along. 10 degrees cooler tomorrow. We continue to increase the clouds. We'll go down to 20% on Thursday, 10 Friday, and then our greatest chance of rain, as we talked about yesterday, is going to be Sunday at 40 to 50%. 1 degree warmer tonight, mid and upper 40s to low 50s. Highs tomorrow, big drop, low 70s in the warmer inland spots. Riverside, San Bernardino, 71. Apple Valley, 68. Up in the Antelope Valley, 65 degrees. Same for Burbank. Along the coast, not too much cooler. Redondo, 65. Malibu does that number. 1 degree cooler, Oxnard and Ventura. Here's the 7-day. 30%, this will be in the afternoon and evening hours. 20% Thursday, then down to 10% under partly cloudy skies for Friday and Saturday. Biggest chance Sunday, 40 to 50%. Here we go, spending all our time in the weather office, splitting hairs, trying to figure a way to lure these storms in here. Just they pull right up and they weaken and don't have a lot of moisture.
I love the way you hedge it.
You got to do it.
Sort of, kind of, maybe.
Job in Vegas.
Okay.
See you later.
Thank you, sir. Candy concerns, childhood obesity, and sweet treats.
Coming up next right here, a candy maker takes new warnings to heart.
New at 6, an exotic animal from the land down under, jumping through a local neighborhood. The chase and how officials finally caught him. Then, accusations that police caused the death of a local man while in custody. A live report. Tonight on the Channel 4 News at 6.
Company that makes Snickers and M&M's says it is through targeting kids under the age of 12 with its advertising. Master Foods, part of the Mars Company, says that by the end of this year, it's going to restrict its advertising. Says the new policy is in response to concerns by parents and consumers about good health and childhood obesity. The ad restrictions will also apply to Milky Way, Skittles, Starburst, and Twix candy.
Got a consumer alert for you tonight. It's from Easy Bake. It's recalling almost 1 million of its toy ovens that are very popular among little girls. The company says it's received 29 reports of children getting their fingers or hands stuck inside the ovens. 5 of them were burned. The oven is pink and purple and looks like a miniature plastic stove with 4 burners on top and Easy Bake on the oven door. For more details about the recall, log into our website, NBC4.TV.
Workplace woes within the Orange County Sheriff's Department. Coming up next at 5:30, we have this.
I'm Vicki Vargas in Santa Ana. Retribution, politics, and now accusations of civil rights violations. A lieutenant takes on his boss. We'll have a live report.
All right, Vicki, in the Arctic blast, much of this country under a blanket of crippling cold. A live report on that coming up in just a minute.
Orange County Sheriff's Lieutenant taking the election, and tonight he is hitting his boss, Sheriff Mike Corona. The lieutenant claims the sheriff retaliated against him, and he's suing. Good evening once again. I'm Colleen Williams.
I'm Paul Moyer. We begin right here at 5:30 on Channel 4 with this lawsuit from the sheriff's lieutenant. He is upset about what happened to his career, and it was all about retribution. Vicky Vargas is live in Santa Ana on this night.
And Paul, in talking to Lieutenant Jeff Barczyk, he says he's one of the guys who raised himself up through the rank and file. However, he says he was passed over for a promotion 6 times. And when he refused to quit, he was reassigned to a job that is the furthest from his home. In his words, that's what's known in the department as freeway therapy. Lieutenant Jeff Barczyk says the civil rights lawsuit is about accountability. He contends his boss, Sheriff Mike Corona, refused to let him interview for a higher-ranking job because he was doing his job.
The sheriff said to give his message, you would resign from law enforcement.
According to the lawsuit, Barczyk was ordered to get rid of the dead wood in the department's reserve program to make sure it was no longer a badge and gun club. Corona had come under fire for giving badges to untrained personnel. The 22-year veteran says what he learned is that the sheriff faced a misdemeanor for giving out those badges. In the lawsuit, Barczyk says Corona told him, I don't give a blank about the county council. I'm going to change the law.
It's dangerous. You go down that slippery slope of abuse of authority. And when that happens, the community suffers, law enforcement as a family suffers.
Barczyk supported Lieutenant Bill Hunt in his campaign to unseat Sheriff Corona. He says his freedom of speech was violated when Corona retaliated against him. He was then assigned to Port Services in Fullerton.
The Sheriff's Department has an old boys setup where there are no rules regarding who can apply for particular positions. Instead, Sheriff Corona picks his political allies and friends and taps them on the shoulder for positions.
Tim Whitaker ran Hunt's campaign and says the actions against Barczyk could affect all county employees.
Don't you bother running for office. Don't you bother whistleblowing and letting the public know what's going on within your department, because your boss is going to take retaliatory action against you and no one's going to come to your defense.
We made numerous calls to the Sheriff's Department regarding this lawsuit. Those calls were not returned today. This is a case that will be heard in federal court. Live in Santa Ana, I'm Vicky Vargas, Channel 4 News.
LA city officials are hoping a $10,000 reward will help solve the murder of a young man gunned down inside a South LA junior high school. Demetrius Perry was shot and killed at Charles Drew Middle School in the Florence area about 10 days ago. It was around 6 p.m. The 23-year-old man was playing basketball in the gym when 3 men walked in. Witnesses say they shouted gang expletives before one pulled a gun and shot Perry in the chest 3 times. Investigators say they have few clues and so far, no suspects.
Colleen, we're going to talk about the weather back east in the middle western part of this country, and it hasn't gotten any better tonight. Sub-zero temperatures still paralyzing much of the eastern United States tonight. The deep freeze has shut down schools, disrupted daily routines for millions and millions of people. In some cases, the freezing cold has even turned deadly. Reporter Jay Gray again live for us tonight in Chicago with details. Jay.
Hey there, Paul. Yeah, another bitter night here in Chicago, and it was already frozen, as you know. Now snow has been added to the mix, as you can see here. These are conditions they're dealing with, not only in Chicago, dangerous conditions across the Midwest and into the Northeast tonight. It's another day in the deep freeze for the Northeast and Midwest, where the extreme conditions have now turned deadly. Fires from heaters, icy accidents, and exposure to the bitter elements all being blamed for more than a dozen deaths.
Okay, so you have no heat right now.
Help centers like this one in Chicago have stepped up staffing, working to protect those who may need it the most. And volunteers in the region are now working around the clock as well.
I mean, you have the elderly circulation isn't quite what it used to be, so they don't feel the cold, and they can easily frostbite they're saying the nose, the face, the fingers.
Concern about frostbite closed dozens of school districts for the second day in a row.
2 to 3 minutes, you start getting the early signs of frostbite.
Those whose jobs pushed them out into the elements, dressed in layers, and still struggled to survive.
You tolerate it. It's about all you do. You never get used to it. You know, you have to dress for it. That's all I can say. Or else you won't make it out here.
A dangerous reality that will likely continue along with these bitter conditions for several days. And things only getting worse now that the sun has gone down. The temperature will again hover around 0 and wind chills will dip to dangerous levels of 20 to 30 below tonight. Live in Chicago, I'm Jay Gray. Paul, Colleen, back to you.
All right, Jay, thank you. Now, how can a parachute save your life? Well, in the air, the answer is pretty obvious. But what about inside your body? Inside your body, a parachute can actually help prevent strokes. Dr. Bruce is here right now to explain all of that. Dr. Bruce?
Yeah, it sounds strange, but you know, it's a very special type of parachute that goes into your heart, believe it or not, and catches blood clots before they form. That may save many lives. In the air, parachutes are lifesavers, breaking a death-defying fall, helping the shooters to land safely on the ground. And here comes the device. This parachute works inside your body to save your life. It's called the Watchman. It works by preventing clots from causing strokes. Eileen Nichols has one of them in her heart. She's one of more than 2 million Americans who have atrial fibrillation.
Your beat was very fast and something was just kind of at very high gear.
That gear is not only fast, it's irregular, causing turbulent blood flow. And that can lead to clots to forming in the heart, then shooting to the brain and causing a stroke. Blood-thinning drugs like Coumadin may prevent the clot from forming, but those drugs have some downsides.
The Coumadin is designed to thin your blood, but you don't want to overly thin the blood, or the patients will have potentially life-threatening bleeding complications. So they need blood tests every few weeks for the rest of their life.
The Watchman works completely differently without any of those dangers. Threaded through a blood vessel up to the danger area, the parachute blocks off an appendage, a pouch-like area where blood could collect into a life-threatening clot.
There would be no blood flow into the appendage. Blood clots could never form there, and even if they were already formed, they couldn't exit because of this barrier. And over time, your body will grow a layer of skin right over it.
Eileen had her parachute placed at one of the hospitals participating in a nationwide clinical trial of the Watchman system. She's off Coumadin, and she's feeling good.
Nice thought to know that you have another factor that's between you and these kind of problems.
That's a fact. Now, in a pilot study, 97% of patients went off all blood thinners, and 4 years after the procedure, none of them had strokes. More data is needed before the FDA gives final approval for the device. More information on the Watchman clinical trial available at our website, NBC4.TV. Click on Health. You'll find a whole section on heart health for this Heart Month and information on free local screenings. Pretty incredible device.
Yeah, it's scary.
how it
Stroke
works.
affects so many people.
Yes, it does, but this can prevent it.
All right, sir. Thank you
Thanks,
very much.
Bruce.
All right.
We saw Jay Gray looking like a walking block of ice in Chicago there. For us, not as cold, but things might be changing. Here's Fritz.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to finesse a 30% chance of rain.
Oh.
I'm glad I'm not in his position out there. I don't have the clothes to do his kind of story. All right, we have these storms in the Pacific. We're seeing already the upper and mid-level cloud cover. We're seeing already the return of the onshore flow. Many of our coastal cameras showing dense fog developing down there. That means the ocean's trying to come in here and replace the dry, warm offshore flow that gave us 3 days of record-breaking temperature. Now we're going to try to work on getting a little measurable rain. Not looking fabulous yet. We have a 30% chance building tomorrow afternoon and evening. That will taper off to a 20% chance on Thursday. The chance will never completely go away because that trough of low pressure will be in the Pacific Northwest. So although we're not posting it Friday and Saturday, we'll call it a 10% chance of rain. And as we talked about yesterday, most of the computer models are in agreement about one thing. Sunday looks to be the greatest chance of rain at a 40 to maybe 50% chance. It's better than nothing. Beyond that, Monday and Tuesday will go mostly and then partly cloudy. It may change. That's what we have right now. We'll see at 6 o'clock.
In an instant, her life changed forever.
Next, the LA officer injured by a gunman's bullet. Now an inspiration to others. But first, here's Fred.
All right, we know baseball season is coming up. The Dodgers make a Southland appearance. Andrew Bonham is fined by Phil Jackson. But why? And Bambi, eat your heart out. A deer calling contest that will have you howling.
Fred's here with the sports. They're going to try to get their money's worth out of Mr. Beckham, it looks like.
It all begins very, very soon. Get ready for Beckham Mania. The 2007 schedule has been released, and the Galaxy will visit every MLS city after Beckham's U.S. arrival in July, as a matter of fact. 16 of the team's final 17 games are scheduled for a national broadcast, with Beckham likely to make his MLS debut the 4th of July against the Chicago Fire or 3 days later against the Kansas City Wizards. It's almost time to start thinking about baseball again. Pitchers and catchers report to spring training next week. And with that in mind, the Dodgers began their annual caravan tour to promote the club. One of their many stops today was the Pasadena City College, where the players signed autographs and promised nothing but success for the upcoming season.
And we're going to have some nice veteran leadership and experience just to add to some of the youth that we had last year come up. So I just think it's all positive.
And how can you not be excited to play for these guys? I think they're going in the right direction, and you want to go, as you get later on in your career, you want to go where you think you have a chance to win, and I wouldn't be here if I didn't think we had a shot at winning.
Dodgers open the season April 2nd at Milwaukee. How about this? Charles Barkley has openly admitted he's got a gambling problem, claiming he's lost as much as $10 million. Last weekend in Las Vegas, though, Charles won $700,000 playing blackjack and betting on the Super Bowl. The bad news at all of this, he's still $9.3 million shy from breaking even. NBA Lakers off until Thursday when they play at Detroit. But Senator Andrew Bynum has been fined a whopping $50 by Coach Phil Jackson for taking and missing a three-pointer late in last night's win over Atlanta. Apparently, it's Jackson's policy that big men are not allowed to shoot three, since it's a sign of disrespect to the opposing team. But Jackson did note that if Andrew made the shot, he wouldn't have gotten fined. Also, the Golden State Warriors received a rousing welcome yesterday in Indianapolis. Both team buses received police escorts because of all the traffic downtown for the Colts Super Bowl parade, which led some fans to believe that the buses were full of Colts and not basketball players. The result? Widely cheering Colts fans. And seriously, when was the last time anybody cheered for the Warriors? Serious business in Germany at the 9th championship of deer callers. These hunters claimed they had the secret to the precious music of the deer. They used cow horns, seashells, and other bizarre tubular contraptions to recreate something organizers called the fighting roar of the peak of excitement. Excuse me. The winning prize, a pump-action shotgun. Finally, the Harlem Globetrotters are coming to the Southland next week, and yesterday we posed a question to you dealing with the ambassadors of goodwill. How many countries have the Globetrotters visited? The correct answer was 118, D. In fact, the Globetrotters have played more than 20,000 exhibition games in their 80-year history. All right, we'll see you next hour. That's it.
Courageous and a fighter.
The words used to describe an LA officer injured in the line of duty. Now a new challenge. Her story coming up next.
Every year, the LA Marathon honors someone who has become an inspiration to others by displaying courage in the face of overwhelming odds. Tomorrow, that honor will go to Los Angeles police officer Christina Rapati. Here's Jennifer Bjorklund with more.
It's been 8 months since a robbery suspect shot Officer Christina Rapati, stealing her ability to walk. Rapati is paralyzed from the chest down. The injury has changed her life, but not her determination.
When I go to rehab and I get on the mats, I think about those first days when I was just on those mats, just trying to simply roll over. You know, it's such a hard task, and sit up. And now, you know, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of things that I thought were going to be impossible to do, I can do.
Getting in and out of her wheelchair without help is one.
Ready?
Going back to the gym is another.
Ready? 1, 2. Probably 6 to 8 weeks after she was released, we were back in here.
Eric Lasiste has been training Rapati since long before her injury. He says she's always been driven, even working out through 9 months of pregnancy. Now he says she puts able-bodied gym rats to shame.
This one's getting light now.
First day we went back, you know, I looked at her and said, I'm so proud of you for having the courage to go in here and do this, you know, because we have no idea what she's going to be able to do and if it's going to be possible, but it turned out there's a lot that's possible.
I always say the best part of my day is when I'm in the gym and working out. I feel like it's forever.
More good days than bad, in large part because of the love and support of her husband, Pierce, and their 2-year-old daughter, Jordan. But her struggle is far over.
My body is
She may never realize some dream like running in the LA Marathon.
That was always a lofty goal for me. I ran in hate.
In fact, the morning she was shot, Rapati and husband Tim ran relay. The irony was they were competing in the police memorial run honoring fallen officers.
Last picture of me, you know, standing basically. So it's kind of a special picture to me. You know, I got lost in it all the time. looking at it and kind of in amazement, like how quickly life changed.
Because running was something they shared, Pierce has decided to run this year's LA Marathon in his wife's honor.
I think more and more, Christina can't run. She loves running, and I think it may do something for her.
There's no doubt in his mind she deserves the marathon's honor for her courage over the last 8 months.
She's already showing people, and she will continue to show people that there's a lot you can do. You can lead an excellent, fulfilling, exciting life after your injury.
Now could very easily change with advances in science with stem cells. Limits of what I can do.
Jennifer Borkland, 4 News.
The Los Angeles Marathon is presented by Honda, and you can watch it right here on NBC4 on Sunday, March 4th.
He may be gone, but his legacy remains.
Coming up next, right here, a birthday tribute to President Ronald Reagan.
He would have been 96 years old today, and friends and supporters of President Ronald Reagan are still showing tonight. They remember him. They celebrated today with a full-fledged birthday party at the Ronald Reagan Library in Simi Valley. It was complete with military band, honor guard, and a jet flyover. Mr. Reagan's Attorney General Edwin Meese helped place a wreath from the White House on President Reagan's gravesite. Former First Lady Nancy Reagan was not at the party, but she did send a letter of thanks.
The National Park System may get its biggest increase in federal cash ever to prepare for its 100th birthday bash. President Bush's 2008 budget sets aside $2.4 billion for the National Park Service. That's $230 million more than last year. The plan calls for adding 3,000 new seasonal employees and improving park maintenance. The National Park System is gearing up for its centennial birthday celebration in the year 2016.
We're done.
Yes, we are.
That's it for us for the Channel 4 News at 5 and 5:30. As always, we thank you very much for watching.
Chuck Henry and Ann Garcia, though, are in the newsroom right now with a look at what's new on the Channel 4 News at 6. Hello.
And coming up in just a few minutes from now at 6 o'clock, a man dies in LAPD custody. Were officers at fault?
I'm Laurel Erickson. How did Mauricio Cornejo die? Did police kill him? The story straight up at 6.
And the NASA love triangle. New claims from the alleged kidnapping victim that she was stalked for months by a fellow astronaut.
Also at 6 o'clock is a cousin to the kangaroo. Kind of looks like a kangaroo, doesn't it? Anyway, it's loose in a local neighborhood, but where did it come from?
Australia. Plus, it is very long hop. Also quite serious here. A felony arrest warrant issued today for Baldwin brother. It's next on the Channel 4 News at 6.
Live from NBC4, this is the Channel 4 News at 6.
He died in an LAPD jail cell, and now his death is under investigation, and it has angered people who knew him in this East Los Angeles community. Good evening. I'm Chuck Henry.
And I'm Anna Garcia. Now, witness claims that she saw police hitting Mauricio Cornejo with batons when he was taken into custody. He died at Hollenbach Division just a few hours later. Channel 4's Laurel Erickson is live in downtown right now with the very latest on the investigation. Laurel?
Well, the question, of course, is how were the police beating this man with batons, if in fact they were? The family says there was excessive force. They want an investigation by the city. They want help from the FBI. The police say this guy was carrying a loaded .45 caliber gun that he threw away. Autopsy today should have told what happened. Was there a brain hemorrhage? Was it something else? The results deferred. More tests and more study.
See him there? He's walking. Now look at the swing. Bam, right there. See how he ducks forward? It did strike him.
A defense attorney says this videotape shows 31-year-old Mauricio Cornejo walking toward a police squad car, officers standing nearby. The question, was he killed by repeated blows to the head and chest from police? Did Cornejo carry a gun? Did Cornejo start a fight with officers? Residents of Ramona Gardens housing project say the cops beat Cornejo even after he was handcuffed. They washed cars today to raise money for a funeral. Cornejo was the only brother in a family of many, many sisters.
We have two real solid witnesses that are saying that once Mr. Cornejo was already handcuffed and detained and restrained, that some officers came and kicked him in the head, and him also hit him with a baton numerous times.
He turned around and came back and charged at the officers, and at that point, there was a fight between the two officers and the suspect.
LAPD claims Cornejo was stopped on a traffic violation, fled, threw away a .45 caliber gun, and was later found to have narcotics on him.
After that fight, the officers took him into custody, handcuffed him, placed him into the police car. He continued to be resistive to the officers to the point that they had to use a strap around his ankles to keep him from kicking the officers as they put him into the car. harsh.
LAPD says officers called an ambulance to remove Cornejo from a jail cell at Hollenbeck when the inmate said he could not breathe. Okay, just a little while ago, we got some new video out at Ramona Gardens. Let's go to that now. The police moved in incredible force. The police say that they did so to show that they were keeping the peace. Ramona Gardens is actually under a gang injunction, the Hazards gang there, and that means they are not supposed to congregate. So when these folks were gathered for the car wash, it presents for both sides. The police say that Cornejo is a parolee. Attorney for the family say that there's no life-threatening involved in the sentence. He is the father of a young boy. Reporting live from Parker Center, Channel 4 News.
Now to breaking news out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Construction workers have been killed in a work-night accident on the Strip. 2 other workers injured in the accident. Here is what happened. A 3,000-pound wall collapsed at the MGM Mirage City Center project. That's just south of the Bellagio Hotel. This was a foundation wall. That means it was at ground level. It was being hoisted into position when it fell on the workers below. The City Center project is a massive $7 billion condominium and retail project. Another unusually warm day, at least for February, and Fritz Coleman here. Tell us more about it, Fritz.
Yes, no records today, folks, but many warm temperatures. Look at those days, the National Weather Service. 80 downtown Malibu, really showing the return of the cool, moist onshore flow at 59 degrees, 77 here at Burbank Airport, 82 in Woodland Hills, 77 in the Antelope Valley, 63 at Newport. Fog developing from Venice down to the Long Beach area, and we really see the effect of the ocean coming ashore, and it could be the precursor to a chance of rain. How much of a chance of rain and when? We'll talk about it in my live Weather Plus forecast in just a few minutes.
We learned tonight that astronaut Lisa Marie Nowak may have been stalking her Air Force captain, Colleen Shipman, for as much as 2 months before being arrested in Orlando. Nowak got out of jail this morning on $25,000 bail after being charged with attempted murder and attempted kidnapping. Prosecutors claim Nowak donned a wig and a trench coat and confronted Shipman at the Orlando airport. They claim she saw Shipman as a rival for the affections of fellow astronaut Bill O'Fallon. Prosecutors opposed bail, but Nowak's attorney prevailed.
This is a member of the Armed Forces on active duty assigned in Texas. So we're not going to have a problem with her being back here.
Nowak must wear a GPS tracking device, and in court documents filed yesterday, Shipman sought a restraining order against Nowak and accused her of stalking her for as long as 2 months. And Shipman also accused Nowak of using government resources and computers to get private information about her.
Police in the Playa del Rey area are still trying to determine exactly what led to a double stabbing at a high school basketball game. Investigators say the trouble apparently started after the basketball game at St. Bernard's High School. An unruly crowd began to vandalize, and then they turned their attention to one particular teenager and attacked him.
And several of those people who were part of that violent group attacking that individual were members of a gang.
The teenager who was attacked and another teen were critically stabbed, but both are in stable condition at this hour. Neither victim was a student at the school, and there's been no arrests in this case yet.
Tonight, a 12-year-old Montebello boy is expected to survive after being wounded in a drive-by shooting there. The search continues for suspects. Broken glass and bullet holes mark the site of last night's attack on Walnut Avenue. Police say the boy was taking out the trash when he was shot in the abdomen. Police say that his older brother was the intended target. The wounded boy is hospitalized in serious but stable condition after undergoing surgery.
Today, the 9th and final defendant in that racially divisive Long Beach Halloween beating case was sentenced today. The teenager was sentenced to probation and community service, ending the long emotional proceedings in court. Channel 4's Doug Kriegel reports.
What a final day in this trial. The last teenage defendant and her firefighter father wept openly in court. They apologized to the victims and asked the judge for mercy. This final defendant, Allison, a student at Long Beach State, was the chaperone and driver on Halloween that night in Long Beach, where 3 women were severely beaten and injured, 9 juveniles convicted of the crime. In court today, Allison's father, a firefighter, cried as he told the judge his daughter had an excellent school record, never been in trouble. Finally, Judge Gibson Lee agreed that Allison would be the only defendant who didn't have to endure 60 days house arrest, but she would still be on probation.
We recommended home on probation for Allison with no 60 days of electronic monitoring, or house arrest as it's called, because in her case, it's not necessary.
Allison's family left the courthouse without commenting, but a spokesperson for the families of the 9 defendants defended their children.
Our children were wrongly identified, arrested, convicted, and sentenced for a crime that we believe they did not commit.
This incident isn't over yet. 2 15-year-old boys are also accused of beating those 3 women with intent to commit great bodily harm and hate crimes. They are expected to face the judge next month. Doug Kriegel, Channel 4 News.
A rather unusual wildlife incident right here in Southern California today. A wallaby. Yes, I can't help it. I have to look at the wallaby. So cute. Somehow.
Ooh, green there.
Yeah, well, he's green, yeah. Got loose in Fontana and went
Ireland.
wandering the streets. Channel 4's Mary Parks live right now with the story. Mary, please explain about the wallaby.
Well, you know what's so funny? All anyone talked about the last couple of weeks was the snow that we had here in Fontana, and now it's the wallaby. This little furry creature made its way through the gate of a house where someone was watching or babysitting this animal, made its way down the street and had some freedom for about 2 hours. A kangaroo! A kangaroo! Look! Shortly after dawn, this North Fontana neighborhood was jumping.
I see him. There he is. There he is. Kangaroo Jack.
My brother woke up this morning, came outside, and he seen a kangaroo. I was like, you need to stop lying. It's too early in the morning.
But Skylar Torulala ran outside with her camera and recorded this home video.
I never thought a kangaroo would be in Fontana.
Not exactly a kangaroo, a wallaby. His name, Walter, who was being cared for by his owner's friend. Walter broke free from the backyard of his babysitter's home in the 1400 block of Idaho. Lisa Pittman lives next door and mistook Walter for his larger cousin, the kangaroo.
And I just walked along with him. He'd stop, he'd look around, eat some grass, and walk and go to the next grass. We were very scared. We really were. We were like, okay, we're amazed that we see this, but yet we're not going to go too close because we don't know.
After a short foot chase, Walter was cornered in a neighbor's backyard and surrendered quietly. Walter's babysitter faces a citation for having a wild animal. She declined to talk with reporters, but neighborhood children had plenty to say about their furry visitor. Bet that's never happened in Fontana before.
It never has in my entire life we lived here.
Well, and perhaps never again. Now, no one was injured. Walter didn't cause any kind of damage, and Fish and Game told us it's not illegal to have a wallaby here in California as long as you have a special permit. I'm Mary Parks reporting live, Channel 4 News.
It's not
Grabbing
illegal.
by the tail.
Not illegal to have them.
Okay, that's interesting. Walmart facing an expensive and very historic lawsuit. We'll have the details coming up for you.
Then an arrest warrant issued for actor Daniel Baldwin. Find out why.
Plus, a man who was desperate to sneak into the United States. What tipped off the Border Patrol agents? Next on the news at 6 o'clock. A judge in Orange County has issued a $25,000 arrest warrant for this man, Daniel Baldwin, the brother of fellow actors Alex, William, and Stephen. This is some videotape of the actors shooting a movie some years ago. Baldwin failed to show up in a Newport Beach court for his arraignment on felony charges for unlawfully taking a vehicle and receiving stolen property. Police say that last November, Baldwin was picked up driving a GMC Yukon that had been reported stolen. Investigators say they also found drugs in a motel room that was used by the actor.
Tonight, border agents in Calexico have filed human smuggling charges against a man who allegedly tried to sneak an undocumented Chinese immigrant across the Mexican border in a modified glove compartment. Agents became suspicious, they say, when they spotted what looked like a man's foot under the dash. They eventually tore the car's dashboard apart to free the man, who was in fair condition. The passenger, a citizen of mainland China, is being held as a material witness against the driver.
A class action lawsuit charging that Walmart discriminated against women is moving forward tonight. The world's largest discount retailer is accused of paying female employees less than men and passing women over for promotions. A federal appeals court today upheld a 2004 decision allowing this case to go to trial. The lawsuit puts Walmart at risk of paying billions of dollars in damages, making it the largest sex bias case ever in U.S. history.
Anna Nicole Smith and the company Trim Spa have been named a class action lawsuit tonight, alleging the marketing of their weight loss pill is false and misleading. Smith is a spokesperson for Trim Spa. The plaintiffs filed a complaint here in Los Angeles. He can specify damages. The lawyer said that today his client has not seen the lawsuit. Last month, the Federal Trade Commission announced Trim Spa would pay $2.5 million to settle allegations that the company's weight loss claims were unsubstantiated.
As Fritz shows a moment ago, another warm day today. So the question now is, how long is it going to stay in the 70s and 80s? Fritz will have the forecast in just a moment.
But first, this ancient technique may help you lose weight. Dr. Bruce has the scientific evidence next. Sounds amazing, but there's a new way using an ancient technique to lose weight without taking medicine and without feeling too hungry. Channel 4's medical editor, Dr. Bruce Hensel, has details of a Mayo Clinic study. Dr. Bruce?
That's right. It came out of a very reputable place, Anna. The study looked at acupuncture, already proven to treat pain as a way to control appetite, and it showed there really is scientific basis for believing it works.
Yeah, your turn.
Kevin Rydberg stays away from candy except in games like these because of a lifelong problem.
I became overweight about 4th or 5th grade.
As time went on, Kevin had more and more trouble, peaking at 420 pounds.
If I didn't get healthy and lose the weight, and that I didn't have much of a future with my kids.
Pills that curb appetite may cause you to be jittery. Other medicines that interfere with fat absorption may cause stomach or intestinal discomfort. Kevin had gastric bypass surgery.
I lost a lot of weight, like 160 pounds.
But then the appetite came back.
Maybe a gumdrop would taste good right now.
Instead, Kevin turned to acupuncture. The theory, the tiny needles interfere with electrical lines that may stimulate hunger.
I'm starting to feel things moving around already.
The latest research leads Mayo Clinic scientists to think the needles may also cause the release of chemicals that can be helpful.
Regardless of which system you believe, somehow it seems to have a very profound effect on a lot of different illnesses.
Mayo Clinic's Brent Bauer says in addition to controlling appetite, acupuncture may help treat depression, stress, anxiety, and addiction, all of which may play a role in weight gain. And controlling them leads to weight loss. Now, of course, this won't surprise you. The study shows acupuncture works best when used with good nutrition and exercise, but it promotes those things. More information on the study and nutrition available at our website, NBC4.TV. Click on Health. You'll find the latest health news, my stories, and a comprehensive A to Z guide. Back to you.
Thanks very much, Bruce. And now to look into your immediate future, let's go downstairs to Fritz Coleman.
That's right. Well, you know, it'll be interesting to see what we look back and name this winter. People in Chicago and Detroit and the Midwest and Northeast may name it the winter of the Arctic blast. We may have to name our winter the winter of the near miss, because here we go again, forecasting rain, and that storm gets right up to the coast of California, loses its strength, juts to the northeast, and we have another near miss on our hands. Here are real-time numbers here from Live Weather Plus Doppler. A beautiful day and a comfortable evening. 58 degrees at Malibu, 61 at Burbank, 60 at Anaheim, and 57 degrees at Huntington. Now, I want to show you computer projections, what we call Futurecast, that shows where the rain will be 2 days out. Here's our dilemma. Center of the low off the central and northern California coast. Look where all the moisture goes. Right along the northern coast up through San Francisco and inland up into the northern Sierra. And look how close it gets to Southern California. About as close as we see this swath of moisture is 7:30 tomorrow morning. Then it all shunts to the northeast, up and away, and we have another near miss. Maybe the mountains of Santa Barbara, Ventura County, a little shower. We're going to call it a 30% chance of rain tomorrow afternoon and evening. That's about as much as we can do. And here we go again. It'll taper off to 20 on Thursday, 10% on Friday and Saturday, and then our greatest chance of rain, which we talked about yesterday, which seems to be fairly consistent in all the computer models, ought to be Sunday at 40 or 50%. Better than nothing. Partly cloudy skies, east wind, still an offshore flow at 5 miles an hour, overnight lows in the 40s. Had some fog along the coast tonight. That shows the ocean is once again influencing our weather. Partly cloudy skies, a 30% chance afternoon and evening, cooler daytime highs. Maybe a 10-degree drop in temperatures wherever you are tomorrow. 1 degree warmer tonight, however, upper 40s to about 51 downtown. Highs tomorrow, Inland Empire, 71 at Riverside and San Bernardino, 77 in the low desert. Along the coast, mid and upper 60s generally. Not any different than you'll find in the Intermediate Valley. 65 up in Palmdale and Lancaster, 62 at Santa Clarita. Here's the 7-day. So it's a 30% chance tomorrow, late in the day, 20% Thursday, 10%, not worth mentioning, partly cloudy skies Friday and Saturday, 40 to 50 on Sunday. Here's hoping. Maybe we'll have better news on the 11th. See you then.
There's always hope. Operation Valentine, that's coming up next at 6.
How a pair of self-proclaimed bargain shoppers are showing the love to local troopers.
Clippers are in the Big Apple, but you know what? It doesn't taste good. You like Stairmasters? We've got a race for you. And a local prep star gives his program a major makeover. His story's coming up.
Then new tonight on the Channel 4 News at 11. Road wars on our streets, bikes and cars all vying for the same space, and all too often people get hurt. Also new at 11, guess what they found inside? A surprise. In fact, several of them. Those stories and all the late-breaking news tonight after an all-new Law & Order SVU on Southern California's #1 newscast, the Channel 4 News at 11. Fred's here now. Time for sports.
All right, Andy, here we go. As UCLA gets ready to host USC tomorrow night, the school announced they have selected an architectural firm to prepare preliminary drawings for a new and expanded Pauley Pavilion. The school wants to dedicate the new arena on October 14th, 2010, which would be John Wooden's 100th birthday. NBA, Mike Dunleavy and the Clippers in New York for the third stop of a 7-game road trip. Elton Brand off to another nice start. Follow-away jumper helped the Clippers go on a 10-1 run. How about Tim Thomas? Certainly been a force of late after a slow start. Monster one-handed jam over David Lee left the Knicks forward with quite the shiner. Clippers led throughout the first half. Sam Cassell drove to the hole for the bucket and the foul. Clippers up 10 at the break, but the Knicks have since rallied back. David Lee, shiner and all, with the layup, giving New York its first lead of the night. Right now in the fourth, they lead the Clippers 70-64. Lakers off until Thursday when they take on Detroit. Not a high school hoops. Don't let the Mohawk fool you here. Sun Valley Poly High's DJ Gay is a serious player. Mario Solis has more.
He's a heart and soul of Poly's recent success. Almost single-handedly, DJ Gay has turned around a program that used to be invisible.
When he came here, we were an average team. He's made us, along with the other guys, into who we are.
A playoff-bound team for the third straight year. The city section undisputed scoring leader is considered the best player to wear the Sun Valley Poly uni since Gail Goodrich.
Just to know what he's done and, Hall of Famer and everything, Lakers, UCLA, I mean, all I can say is thank you.
When Gay is in the zone, it's almost impossible to avoid the Kobe syndrome. 4 players standing around, letting DJ do his thing.
Yes, it does happen, yet I work extremely hard to avoid it. The last thing I want is, DJ and his Musketeers.
My goal is not to come out here and score 40, 50 points a game. My goal is to win.
But Gay is not content with writing history through his stats.
I think there's other kids that are maybe want the same things I did. So I like to, just write on my experiences and how my life was going through my 4 years of high school and what came with it.
Mario Solis, Channel 4 Sports.
Gay originally committed to Irvine, now appears headed to San Diego State. Quick football note, UCLA head coach Carl Durrell has agreed to a contract extension through the 2011 season, but incentives could make more than $1.3 million. And in hockey, Lola Kings in Champa losing to the Lightning 2-1 in San Jose. Finally, insanity on parade today in New York for the 30th annual Empire State Run. 290 Braves souls all had one mind, climbing to the top of the observatory deck. In all, there are 1,576 steps, and as you would expect, some were quicker than others. A German man won for the second year in a row in a time of just over 10 minutes. While the last one up was the 77-year-old Brooklyn man who was the oldest competitor in the event. He, true stairmaster. All right, we'll see you tonight at 11 o'clock.
Wow. 10 minutes. That is. This is what labor volunteers with Operation Baby Valentine spend days sorting, folding, and boxing clothes. For children whose parents are fighting overseas, this project over $5,000.
The children will benefit. The parents will be at ease knowing that they can take care of while they're deployed.
As kids, their parents are on the line. They're putting their lives out, and they're home with that parent. And so, from our hearts to theirs, for what they're doing for our country.
Operation Baby Valentine. The group accepts used clothes but prefer cash. Why? So they can buy new items. And the items will be Valentine gifts to the children of deployed soldiers from here up in the
right gift for the right age child. The kids. See? I know. It sounds a little cold sometimes when you say money, but there's a reason. In case you're not, it's like Wednesday, which Chuck keeps forgetting Wednesday.
There we go.
That's it for us. Next on NBC News, Brian Williams reports from Louisiana. We'll look at Good night, everyone.
Back at 11.